Good morning, everyone. I see some attendees rolling in, and Jesse's here now. We will get started in just a few minutes. Thanks. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning and welcome to our first Workforce Wednesday of the 2021-2022 school year and the Kentucky Chamber Workforce Center's Bus to Business virtual program series. My name is Harper Smith and I'm the Senior Manager of the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce Foundation, and I help direct the Bus to Business program. First, I want to thank our sponsor, Society for Human Resources Management, or Kentucky SHRM, for their continued investment in helping to bring classrooms to careers. The Kentucky SHRM team couldn't be on today, but we always want to recognize them for their involvement and our investment in our program. Next, I would like to introduce a new sponsor of ours of the Bus to Business program, the Kentucky Community and Technical College System. We're so excited to partner with KCTCS in this effort and keep an eye out for some exciting programming that we will be working on with them for this school year. I will now kick it over to Jessie Shook, and she's the Executive Director for Workforce Solutions at KCTCS.
Thank you so much, Harper. We are very excited to be here with you all this morning. As Harper mentioned, I'm Jessie Shook. I'm the Executive Director of Workforce Solutions at KCTCS. KCTCS is the Kentucky Community and Technical College System, which is more commonly known as KCTCS, and we are proud to partner with the Kentucky Chamber to support Bus to Business. If KCTCS doesn't ring a bell, I can assure you that one of our colleges is right in your backyard. We represent 16 colleges across the Commonwealth with more than 70 locations. Regardless of where you're tuning in from today, there's a KCTCS college nearby with in-person and online programs to meet your learning needs. Ready to help you gain the skills, credentials, and experience you need to launch your career. As you explore critical career opportunities in the Bus to Business program, remember that we are here to help you reach your goals. We believe that you can only know what you experience. How could you ever recognize that you might enjoy being a welder, robotics engineer, or respiratory therapist if you've never heard of those opportunities, much less experienced them? This program will allow you to better understand your viable career options and help you get on the path to success. As you think about these opportunities over the course of the year, I encourage you to also consider the type of work that makes you feel energized and excited, the type of work environment that you thrive in, and the lifestyle that you want and see for your future. At KCTCS, regardless of your interest, talents, and career goals, we have a pathway for you. We have over 700 credential options, from certificates to associate's degrees. Some credentials can be completed in as little as 4 months or less and lead to jobs that pay up to $60,000 a year. You know, when I was in high school, I had no idea what $60,000 a year really meant. So to put that into perspective, that can buy you a really nice car. You can eat at your favorite restaurant several times a month. You can dress in the latest fashions and even purchase your own house. More importantly, 75% of our students receive financial aid. Our tuition is less than half the cost of a four-year institution, and only 18% of our students take out loans. Those who do take out loans borrow less than $5,000. Through our Work Ready Scholarship, we provide free tuition for high-demand jobs in key sectors like healthcare, advanced manufacturing, transportation and logistics, and business services and IT, all of which you'll get to explore during this year in Bus to Business. And you can start your pathway now while in high school. Our dual credit programs offer a chance for students to get college credit in high school at a reduced tuition rate. You might even begin your post-secondary education with several semesters already under your belt, thanks to dual credit. This reduces your higher education cost even more, meaning that you are closer to buying that car, having your own place, or taking your dream vacation. Remember that even if you are interested in becoming a neurosurgeon and you know that extensive schooling will be required, we are still the most affordable option to ignite your career. Our transfer programs offer a chance for students to get their basics with us and transfer to a four-year to complete a bachelor's program. Transfer students can save $17,000 when they start with us in transfer. And we have transfer agreements with all four-year institutions in the state and many across the country, and really can facilitate a very easy transition for students who are looking to continue that pathway to the bachelor's degree. At KCTCS, you can have a real college experience, and we encourage you to get active in our community outside of class. We have clubs and activities that can help students prepare for careers, make connections, and just have fun during their post-secondary experience. Lastly, KCTCS is the premier destination for students who want an opportunity to earn a solid paycheck while you learn and increase your skill set to reach that career destination. From apprenticeships to co-ops and paid internships, we can help you access thousands of employers across the state with high-paying jobs so that you can start bringing in cash even as you pursue your degree or credential. We work with employers every day with cool jobs that pay, and they want you to be their next great hire. We can't wait to help you discover the options available for you and learn what your future can look like. If you're ready to get started exploring today, check out our Find Your Career page at the link that I'll put in the chat. And Harper, with that, I'll turn it over back to you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jessie and KCTCS. We are so excited to partner with you all this year. All right, well, so just a couple quick housekeeping things before I kick it over to our panel with Gray Construction. In addition to our virtual live sessions, weekly e-news, and critical job of the week graphics, this year we have launched 3 contests for students to participate in throughout the school year. Students in grades K through 5 can receive our new Ready, Set, Future Bus to Business coloring book, which highlights jobs in different industries, including construction, healthcare, equine, manufacturing, and more. Each month, students will be invited to submit their completed coloring pages online, and selected winners will be featured on our social media on the Bus to Business website. Printed copies are available through the Kentucky Chamber. Reach out to me or Zach, our contacts on the Bus to Business webpage, or you can download the PDF on our website. Middle school students in grades 6 through 8 will be able to participate in a monthly contest, encouraging them to learn more about jobs in different industries. Starting with the construction industry in October, students can submit a paper, video, or presentation about an industry-specific job of their choice. Winners will be recognized on social media and the Bus to Business website and invited to join a special call with a leading Kentucky public official. And lastly, high school students in grades 9 through 12 are invited to participate in a video contest with prizes up to $500. To be eligible, students must interview a community member who currently holds or formerly worked in a job that they find interesting. Following the interview, students will record and submit a short video, 5 minutes or less, discussing what they learned and next steps to prepare for that job, and winners will be announced each month. All of this information, including links to turn in these submissions, can be found at kychamber.com/bustobusiness. This session is being recorded as well as live streamed to YouTube and will be available to watch and rewatch and share afterwards. So whether you're one of the 425 students tuning in live with us on October 13th or watching at a later date, thank you so much for joining, and I hope you all learned something new. Today, we will be hearing from a panel of employees from Gray Construction in Lexington, including our incoming Workforce Center Board Chair, Susan Brewer, who is the Vice President of Human Resources at Gray. Our Talent Pipeline Project Manager, Zach Gobert, will be watching in the chat for any questions and will lead a section at the end for Q&A. So please put any questions that you or your students have in the chat. And without further ado, I will kick it over to the team at Gray. Susan, it says you all are muted. Still says muted. I'm not sure why that is. I'm trying to unmute you from my my screen, but it's not. It just, there we go.
Okay. Can you hear me now, Harper?
Perfect. Thank you all.
Yeah, it said nobody in the last 19 months. We can't hear you. You're muted, right?
Right.
So, hi, welcome everybody. I'm Susan Brewer. As Harper mentioned, I head up Human Resources for Gray Construction. And we're very excited to be here today to talk to you about the various careers in the construction industry and specifically at Gray. Harper shared with you that I'm the incoming chair of the Workforce Center Board and have been on that board since before we were a board. So it's been very exciting to watch the growth of this Workforce Center and Bus to Business. Which Harper talked about Bus to Business, and you heard about some great ways to extend your career through KCTCS. So all of that is very exciting and some really great ways that you can get involved and learn more about the construction industry and about the various opportunities that are available to extend your education so that you can enjoy those careers. So the goal of Bus to Business is to introduce students to career pathways in their own communities, to give students the opportunities to speak directly with employers and industry leaders about career pathways available through these organizations. Students learn more about careers that are in demand in Kentucky and what it takes to obtain them. Since 2019, Bus to Business has evolved. On the inaugural day, on October 2nd, 2019, the Bus to Business program coordinated in-person field trips to 30 schools, and 30 schools visited 32 businesses, one of which was Gray Construction, in 24 counties across the state, with over 1,200 students impacted. Gray Construction was pleased to be part of that event, but then the pandemic hit, so we had to figure out a way to pivot so that we could keep Bus to Business in the schools and moving forward to help students such as yourselves learn about the various careers around Kentucky and in the construction industry. So with that, Bus to Business put together 15 videos from industry leaders and started sharing those with the schools across the state. For 2021, the school year, the program went completely virtual and expanded the scope of the program. Bus to Business hosted over 30 virtual live events, such as this one, highlighted 23 critical jobs during that time, and had 79 businesses and 187 schools participate, for over 40,000 students being impacted across the state of Kentucky. We're very excited today to continue this program and start off the 2021-2022 school year with the Bus to Business program here at Gray Construction. We're excited to introduce you to the many opportunities that are available in architectural, construction, and engineering. And I have the opportunity and the privilege to turn this program over to John Sloan, who is a project executive with Gray Construction and leads many large projects, and is going to walk you through the life of a project and talk about the construction industry. So thanks for coming here today and being part of this, and I'll turn it over to you, John.
Thank you, Susan. Again, my name is John Sloan. I am a project executive at Gray. I've been at Gray for about 10 years, and I've been in our industry for about 25. So the PowerPoint you're getting ready to see, I'm assuming we're up, right? Yeah. The PowerPoint I'm going to show you guys is, it's a program we have at Gray called Gray Fusion, and it's when we onboard new employees. We have sort of a boot camp to where we walk people through a little bit of everything we do, so they get familiar with it. So when they come in to actually start working, it's not all brand new to them. So this is a presentation I've used a couple times. So I'm going to walk through you guys. And I apologize, I'm used to this being interactive where you guys are asking questions as we go. If you have some, I guess put them in the chat box and I'll try to get to them either as we go or when I'm finished. Let me get this going. So again, when we present this, this project was led by 3 people. Myself, at the time I was a project manager. Max Biddle was our senior design manager, and Jimmy Core was the guy who managed the project. I'll get into sort of the roles and responsibilities of each person and help you guys understand what a day-to-day looks like for the guys at Gray. So the project is a Samsung job. And before we built this, Samsung did not have a presence in the United States. This was their first manufacturing facility ever in the US. And this is washing machines. So they were chasing, Samsung is Korean. They were chasing their competitor is LG. LG was trying to build at the same time. And funny enough, we had a completion date of March. Washing machines have to be ready for tax season. So when you guys go through Lowe's or Home Depot and you see washing machines on the floor, they have to have so many in stock a month prior to tax season. So this is what this was the focus of the schedule. This job was in Newberry, South Carolina. And, Gray Construction as a company, we work in all 50 states. We have international presence. We do work overseas, Canada. We have offices all over the country. But this one was ran out of our Lexington and Charlotte office because of the size and the complexity. It was a joint venture. As you can see, the main building at the top was an existing Caterpillar plant that had been decommissioned. So the reason Samsung picked an existing building was speed to market. So we figured we could get in an existing facility that already had a roof on it and 4 walls and get them faster to the market. If you see to the left at the top, that was a new building we built that is called the EPS. That is where the styrofoam was made to package the washing machines when they get shipped. So the project size, 700,000 square feet. The total cost, $108 million. It didn't start that high. It started around $35 million. And as the project grew, so did the scope and so did the cost. Oh, and again, as far as washing machine goes, if you guys have a Samsung washing machine, if you open the door, it either says made in Vietnam or made in Newberry, South Carolina. So I take a lot of pride in that. So winning the job, Gray Construction, again, we have people in almost every market. We're a full service company. We have a marketing department. We have a business development department, accounting, HR, pre-construction, pretty much full service. We are turnkey design build contractors. So this one was led up by our Korean business developer, Phil Shin. And you can, if you see, look to the right, that picture is a logistics plan. This is part of us preparing a proposal for a customer. We go in and we establish a plan prior to starting, and we use that to, in this instance, we're competing against other contractors for this project. So up front, before they select Gray Construction to do the job, we're trying to win them over with our approach per se. So a lot of effort goes into the marketing, and you can see at the bottom, we started at 38 million and they just kept adding scope. It kept growing, and eventually we landed at 108. So again, part of the marketing and the upfront stuff and the structure of Gray Construction, this is what we call an organizational chart. Now this is for the execution of the project only, and you're only looking at about 20 names. In all, there were probably over 100 Gray team members that worked on this project. And in total, there was about 1,500 people at the peak that were on site executing the project. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But you can look at the organizational structure. To the left is our site management team. That is the group of men and women that are overseeing the actual execution, the work going in place. The middle of the org chart is our project management team. That's where I fall. That's me in the middle. That is your guys that are working on the contractual side, the cost accounting, the subcontract side, the change management, the scheduling. So again, everybody on the sheet is day-to-day involvement. And then to the far right was our design team. Again, all these folks work at Gray Construction, so they're all internal, but we have architects, engineers, mechanical, electrical, structural engineers, all working towards finishing this project. So initially, contractually, I will add that we have in-house legal counsel. So we have a department that's growing. There's several down there. So contracts are a big part of what we do. Each project is, the contract's the basis of how we start and how we continue through the project. I don't want to get too much into that, but we lean a lot on our legal guys. So design, this is how we got started. What the picture you're seeing to the right is a rendering. We do this for a lot of our projects. So to show the customer before it's being built, a 3D version of what that project's going to look like. And it's very critical to the planning phase. So a lot of decisions are being made in this sort of cartoon sketch before the final product comes out, before we actually start designing the steel members and the roof and the concrete. This is what I call the kickoff point. We prepare this through, we have all our drawings are done through software called Revit, and then they go into 3D BIM, and we do clash detection. We have a whole department that does that, just the technical side, and they're working side by side with our designers to make sure once we're actually building this, everything works and goes together smoothly.
John, can you tell them what BIM is?
Yeah, so BIM is 3D. So I've got some slides here you'll see in a second that are, if you've ever seen blueprints or you're familiar with drawings, they are in a 2D format. They're flat pieces of paper. And I'll show you one here. So yeah, so here comes some drawings to the right. Those are blueprints. We draw that up actually in a BIM software that makes those drawings come to life in a 3D environment. So the customer will start putting his equipment in. We are designing utilities, whether it's overhead electrical or a compressed air or gas. And from the BIM standpoint, that makes all that work. Yeah, so when the work starts going to place, there's no, stuff's not bumping into other stuff. Yeah. And a little bit about this project that we did, it was a challenge because it was an existing building. You'll see some pictures here in a minute. We had to go in and take a lot of it out and sort of start from scratch. When we were done, the original building essentially was just a shell with a roof and the four walls. So from a design standpoint, we start with the rendering I talked about. That evolves into drawings. The drawings are everything from architectural, civil, structural, mechanical, electrical, essentially anything in that building is a drawing. And what you're seeing to the right is how we track all our drawings. They are different, what we call document releases. As the project, this job was design build. So we were designing as we're building. So as the project evolves from a design standpoint, you can see the timeline. Each folder has a certain date on it. So when we need to go back in time or, see where we started at one point to where we are now, all this is tracked. At the end of the job, we hand all this over to the customer. You see the last line there, we had 51 document releases. So to put that in perspective, this was a 7-month job. So there were 2 of those folders each week. So that's how fast we were designing it. We had a team of about 20 design managers. Some of our design people were on site working with the customer. In this case, Samsung brought over about 3 dozen of their own engineers and architects. They were on site working full time. So we had to join them and design side by side with them. So this is a little bit about, this is subcontract bid and award. This is a little bit how we bring our subcontractors to the project. So if you take concrete for an example, we will solicit 3 concrete subcontractors. They price the work. We do an analysis of what their bids are. It's called apples to apples. You know, it's everything from unit prices to quantities. We do a comparison. And then what you're seeing here is an example of what we would take to the customer, Samsung in this case, do a trade award authorization, and then we recommend, hey, we would like to work with this guy. And we go from there, and it's all transparent. You can see that's one of Gray's, you know, true value at Gray is we work with our customers. We're open financially, no secrets. So this slide is submittals. What you're seeing here is when you're finished with a project, when you walk inside, anything you can touch, everything that we leave there that's new will have a submittal on it. And this is essentially an approval process where we draw it up, the customer accepts it, he's going to use it for the lifespan of that project. And this is everybody's approval of what we talked about up front, what the customer paid for, and what we agreed on is what they actually got. It could be anything from a paint color to, hey, if you know, if they want a red wall and we give them a white wall, you go back to the submittal and it says, hey, we said red, you know, then we'll change it. So it's part of the document control, which is a huge process at Gray on any construction project. Managing, you know, when you look at the drawings, you look at the submittals, it's a information highway that's crossing through the cloud that, you know, we really have to manage. So the next slide, and again, this is a presentation that we do internally with Gray for all our new hires. So I'm hoping some of this translates, but this is a cost sheet, you know, accounting these projects. You hear $108 million project. It sounds like a lot. We have some projects that cross the $1 billion threshold. And we have some job projects that are a couple $100,000. So it's a wide range of cost of work. So we manage that. There's what I use the word risk. Some people call it opportunity. From Excel spreadsheets, we're tracking the cost. We're tracking potential risks, potential opportunities. All the subcontractors on this project, we had close to 100 subcontractors due to the volume and how fast it was coming in. You know, I know from a mechanical and plumbing standpoint, we had 7 different companies managing one scope. So you can imagine that's a lot of cost, that's a lot of contracts, a lot of changes. So this is just one vehicle we use to manage all that. But at the bottom, you'll see over 400 PCDs. A PCD is how we manage changes to the project. So, you know, in this case, again, the project was 7 months schedule. So that translates to about 20 a week. So 4 a day changes that were being approved. You know, this was a fast track job. This project was 24/7. It had 3 shifts, 7 days a week. So the work was being put in place as we were discussing it. Very aggressive, a lot of fun, you know, but they're not all that fast, but this one was pretty quick. So cultural challenges, you know, I discussed earlier, Samsung was Korean, and 75% of our customers are international. So there's a whole aspect to that. You know, I've been fortunate enough at Gray to work with French customers in Michelin, German customers in the automotive sector, Korean in this case, we have Japanese, Chinese customers, and we have business development guys for each one of those groups. There's international travel if you like, but with this customer, with any international customer, you sort of have to learn their culture. We have procedures and standards at Gray, but those don't always translate to the folks we're working with. So in this case, they had the initial Samsung team that we were negotiating with did not speak English, so we had to have translators. So we negotiated the job through translators. Our presentation was through translators, and then we slowly brought on our own Korean interpreters, and they brought on English interpreters. So every meeting needed 2 meetings. A lot of fun. It's frustrating at times. And The one thing about this culture is they let the young guys execute, and I'm talking about Koreans. The older guys make decisions. So you spend a lot of time working with the younger portion of their organization, and that might not always be what's approved. So we had to manage that. That's not every job. It was just their culture, and we adapted to it. So I've got a few slides on the actual building. You can see this is the inside of the project, the picture to the top. When we inherited the building, again, it was an existing Caterpillar project. We had to tear almost everything out. We tore the slab out. They wanted to reuse the electrical components and the mechanical components, but they couldn't. They were too outdated and they didn't fit their equipment. The picture to the bottom was a dilapidated office that came with the building, and they wanted that thing to look brand new. So you can imagine that's a 30-year space that we had to make look like new construction. So lots of challenges in that. We had to bring a lot of people in to try to figure it out. Our design team made a lot of trips to Newberry, South Carolina, studying the structural components of the building, electrical, mechanical, and trying to bring it up to grade to adapt to Samsung standards. Scheduling at the bottom is another scheduling by Matt Kilgore. He's a guy that's been at Gray, I think 15 plus years. We do our own in-house scheduling. So, I mean, if you guys go, that is a career. We have a scheduling department that's growing, multiple guys doing that. We couldn't build these projects without schedulers. So here's some pictures, and I know this is some before and after, just to kind of give you an idea. The picture before, you saw the slab that we were getting ready to tear out. The picture to the top is what that looked like. That is a deep foundation, deep press foundation. If you look to the right side of that picture, that is an engineered shear wall that we had to bring a special company in to come up with that kind of shoring. It had to be pinned back to the building. And if you can imagine what's holding the building up, those foundations, the footers, are only like a foot or two below the top of that dirt. So at any time, this building was in jeopardy of not being stable. So a lot of attention went to that. You can see, so we dug a hole in the ground, built this concrete foundation up, and the picture to the bottom right is the end product. That is Samsung's equipment. If you could zoom in on that, there's robots involved, there's conveyors, that the weight of that equipment needed such a foundation as the picture at the top. So some other challenges, the building was a pre-engineered building, which has a very light roof load, I think 2 pounds per foot, and the utilities required to make this plant run were heavier than that. So we had to come in and essentially do a pipe rack from the ground up, that we couldn't put any additional load on top of the roof hanging down from it. So a lot of reworking to an existing building. So safety is Gray Construction, Gray Inc.'s #1 core value. If you talk to anyone at Gray, safety is going to be the first thing that comes out of their mouth. It is our #1 core value. Our CEO, Stephen Gray, champions safety. That's all he wants to talk about. We are continuously trying to get our safety better and better, and I would put it up against any construction company in our industry. So this is a project spotlight. So these are lessons learned. We do that on every project. This was a compressed air pipe that was aluminum. It was a Samsung spec that we didn't want to use, but the customer wanted, so we put it in. And you can see from the picture, it was tapped. This caused a small explosion. No one was hurt, thank goodness. But you can see what happened. Because the project was fast tracked, the safety concerns are everywhere. We have our own safety professionals. Every project we build has a dedicated safety guy. This job had 6 at one time, just to manage because the work was going in so quickly. But it's anything from, it's not just a pipe. There are, lockout, tag out, fall protection. Our guys are working on the roof underground. It's safety from A to Z, everything you see. We make sure that all of our people go home safely at the end of the day. That's our That's our challenge. We want a guy to leave the way he shows up, or a person. So these are just, again, this is about the Samsung job, one incident that happened. So this slide is about punch list and warranty. The big focus we have on our projects as they're winding up is what we call the closeout. Obviously the customer is getting ready to take the building over that we've built for him. So we want to give it to him the way it was intended. So we put a lot of effort into completing the list. We don't want to hand it over and then everybody leave the project and have to go back. There's what we call a punch list. That's where we try to walk every square foot of a building with the customer. If there's something he's unhappy with, we put it on a list. We manage it through the software. This was done through Bluebeam. You see on the right. So anything the customer will pick out or we pick out, if you can see, there's a little tiny picture of it. There's a description, a location in the project as far as a column line, and we're sending that out to our subcontractors, and then we're checking it every day. So when we hand a building over and we walk off site, there should be 0 items on that list. Everything's done to the customer satisfaction. So the final book, that is another huge aspect of our projects. This is the handover of the documentation. So we know everything we build, the customer is going to operate whatever the lifespan of that project is, 50 years, some are 100. This is all of our drawings. This is operations and maintenance. It's training. It's how to operate. It's testing. So everything that they purchased from us from a project standpoint, there's a folder on that. They can go educate themselves, and it's really a timestamp of all the documents, all the drawings, the financials, the contract. It all lives in one folder that we hand over to the customer at the end of the project. It takes a big team to put these together.
John, isn't one of the things we're doing is obviously owner training as well?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
with this
Yes, absolutely. So everything that we do, whether it's an overhead door or a compressor or a chiller, any component that we put in, we bring the customer in and we train them. Absolutely. And there's a training document checklist. We don't want that customer operating anything that we've sold to them that they don't know how to operate. So extensive training. So this is my last slide. Again, I'm used to questions, so it goes a little bit slower. But one thing at Gray, over 60% of our work is repeat business. So this is a good case of that. You can see the building that I just discussed was the upper left-hand corner. On the right was phase 2. So we were successful in getting the second project. There's been a phase 3 to this project. And overall, their master planning for Samsung for this area is 16 phases. So we're always negotiating work with them. We're always discussing what's next. So we were able to build a strong relationship, a future. We hope Samsung is a customer for life, which is most of our customers here at Gray. And that's it. Usually this is any questions.
Well, John, I think it's important that we touch on, you named just a number, before we go to Zach with some questions, but you named a number of career opportunities at not only Gray, but just within the industry. I mean, we've got the architects and the many different people that are everything from the BIM, the BDC, all those types of careers that are available there. We've got engineering, we've got electrical, mechanical, structural. We have process now that goes in and helps the customers go in and actually connect their equipment, get their equipment to run. So we've got a number of those, as well as general construction professionals, the civil engineers, project management, construction management. There are just a number of careers that are available. But then there are also the rest of the team that keep everybody moving, which is also, you mentioned, in the back office, everything from marketing to legal to accounting and all those things that make all this run. So there are a number of career opportunities within the construction industry that might not ever even touch the dirt.
Correct.
But there are a number of construction industry opportunities that do touch dirt, and those are the subcontractors that we generally work with. And so those are the electrical, mechanical, and different divisions of work, whether it's concrete, roofing, fire protection, whatever it is that we've got working on that we're working with in addition to that. So just to wrap up before we turn it back to Zach, what are some critical skills that you see for people at Gray Construction if they're looking at a career in construction? We always think about a knack or a ability to build, but in addition to that, what do you think are some critical skills?
The critical skills, looking at this project, it looks complicated. If you don't know what we did, it could be a lot. It's really just wanting to learn. When I first came to Gray, it was like, wow, that's what we built. So it's a little overwhelming when you look at the size and magnitude, when you look at the dollar values of some of our projects. But we have a need for like you said, every single category of a project. It's just coming in with a desire to want to learn, to want to work. There's no shortage of opportunities, and from a field standpoint, you're exactly right. I said about 1,500 people on this job, 12 to 1,300 of those were guys swinging hammers, doing the actual work. There is a labor shortage. There's more work to be done than there is labor available. It affects some of our future opportunities. Do people have capacity? So, there's opportunities across the board in every position.
But when I think about a role such as yours or project management and site management, those roles take a lot of teams working together. 1,500 people don't march in the same direction without good communication skills, without good abilities to share information and communicate that effectively and work together in teams. So while people might be doing individual things on the site, they've got to be able to work together and make things happen, because that doesn't happen in 7 months just because we want it to. It takes a lot of good coordination. And you mentioned the schedulers and that scheduling role and how critical that is.
Yeah.
There's so many different aspects in the construction industry that people can get into if they're interested in learning more.
Yeah.
So anything, guys, you'd like to add to that?
Oh, I think that's great. I mean, there's a wealth of opportunity, and you hit all of those, Susan. We continue to see diversity in all those throughout our business, and it just continues to grow. So.
So Zach, what kind of questions are you seeing in the chat room?
Just muted there. First and foremost, if you all wouldn't mind going around the room and just introducing yourself, talking about your position and maybe a little bit about what got you to where you're at today.
Oh, sure. So John Sloan, project executive. I started, I went to UK as a civil engineering major. Wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. Once I started getting into construction, I went more towards the execution side of it than I did the technical side of it. And I was with a few companies up early in my career trying to figure out what industry I liked. But as far as what got me, I like big teams. I like managing people. I like leading. That's one thing Susan touched on. There's tons of opportunities for leaders. That's one of the first questions we ask people we interview. Are you comfortable working around big teams? Because to Susan's point, our jobs don't happen with just a handful of people. It takes almost a mini army to pull these things off. So that's what I like about our business.
So I'm Rodney Carpenter. I'm vice president. I run one of our business units here at Gray. So I manage teams of project managers that build the projects like John just spoke of. So my tenure with Gray has been well over 30 years. I started as an intern. I've been on the owner side. I'm now clearly back at Gray, as you can see. So just, it's very rewarding. To John's point, it's very challenging. It's to see the finished products of what our teams do, how we impact our customers. We bring opportunities to communities for growth, for employment, for individuals. So that's probably one of the most rewarding things to me. And I guess really probably the most rewarding thing is just the people here at Gray and the environment that we have.
I'm Kathy Rogers. I manage the corporate recruiting. So while I'm not technically in the weeds with construction, but I'm excited to be able to match the right people to the right opportunities here at Gray. I think you've heard that it's all about the people. So the opportunities here are really endless, everything from accounting to HR to electrical, mechanical engineering. There's just a wealth of opportunities here and many ways you can build your career.
And you met me earlier. I'm Susan Brewer. I've been with Gray for 17 years and in the human resources area. I have a business degree and started out with myself with an internship in human resources and really liked it. So I stayed there. I think it's important to point out, Rodney talked about the fact that he started at Gray as an intern over 30 years ago. Those are some great ways for you to learn about what you want to get into. That's what made me want to get into human resources. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I interned in a human resources group. And so that helped me figure that out. We probably had last year over 30 interns at Gray Construction that worked with us through the summer, and some have stayed on through the school years for schools that are close proximity to either our job sites or our offices. And that might be in any one of our offices in Charlotte, Birmingham, Seattle, wherever we have an office or a job site, we tend to have interns. There are also some great apprenticeship programs in the construction industry. And those are even better because you can now use your KEYS money to, with your internship or with your apprenticeship to advance your career. Many people start out on the labor side in construction. For example, our vice president of safety started out as a carpenter helper on one of Gray's job sites, and he's now the vice president of safety for Gray Inc. We have 1,700 employees across 13 operating companies. So, it's really what you want to do and how you want to do it. We have a number of those stories of people who started out on job sites, either working for Gray directly or working for one of our subcontractors, getting to know us, and then either going back to school or just learning through education. Our current president and CEO started out as an intern. Our chief operating officer started out as an intern. So we have a very robust intern program, and I would encourage you to seek out internships and apprenticeships to really learn what you want to do as you continue to think about opportunities.
Yeah, that was one of the questions. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that was one of the questions on here is what type of internships do we offer? So that's perfect.
Yeah, we actually have internships in everything from construction to architecture, on our job sites directly in the field, working with our field teams. We have them in accounting, human resources. So we have internships across all areas of our business. So that's an area to watch. We post all of our jobs on gray.com on our career site, those internships, and we also go to various schools and universities across the state for sure to make sure people know we've got opportunities available.
Awesome. I think combining, talking about the internships and then Zach Morgan's question here in the chat, what would the normal day of an intern look like? And then what would the normal day of someone who joins the Gray team right out of high school look like?
So I can take that one. So, obviously we want everybody to be successful when they come work at Gray. So a normal day, depending on what field you go into, what side of the house, if it's construction, if it's management, if it's accounting, you start off small. You get bits and pieces of a lot of what you saw in my presentation. And then you'll have a mentor who's working with you. And at the pace that you become proficient at it, then you'll start to get a little bit more. So a typical day is going to be a little bit different for everybody. And then the good thing is there's a lot of lateral movement, to Susan's point. You can be in the field to a vice president of safety, so there's no constraints. If we bring someone in and they say, hey, I like what that guy's doing over there, then, all that's possible with us.
Awesome. I'd say too, what experience or skills would you say you'd hope that your interns or your future employees would be looking into right now?
As far as experience, really anything hands-on is what I like to see. If a guy comes in, when we interview people, it's hands-on and attitude. So if they've done anything related to where we can make what we do a little bit relatable. And then we, like I said, start them off slow, and then just attitude. Do you want to work? Are you excited about learning? That's pretty much the basics.
The only thing I would add to that, Zach, is we see a number of, in our project management group, which is across the company, a large number of individuals, but you have a lot of engineering degrees, project management degrees. Eastern has a robust construction management program. But we also see people in business, finance, and across the sector that, their career shifted to a different direction, but it's a lot of what John said as well, but you do see a lot of diversity in that in both the men and women that are in those careers.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that from a lot of our employers across the board, that having those basic communication skills and all those skills makes a huge difference. One question that just came in the chat from Todd Murphy was asking, do organizations like yours offer tuition reimbursement as part of employment?
Yes, we do.
Awesome. And I'm sure that's something they can find once they, find their employment at Gray Construction, get those resources connected into them. One question I had for you guys, and really another one to go around the room, if you could give one piece of advice to students who are watching this today on what they could be doing to best put themselves in a spot to have a career of their choice when they graduate high school, what would that be? The deep one.
I'll start off. For me, no matter what, find something you enjoy. If you find something you love, it won't feel like a job.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there's some long hours in what we do. Sometimes it's not always that way, but it doesn't feel like work because I love what I do. And I think most of the people that are successful at Gray are the same way, same mentality.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if those individuals are in construction or in IT or wherever else in the business. If you just find something you enjoy, something that challenges you, and I think that would be my advice.
And approach things with an attitude of learning, a lifelong learner. I think that's one of the things that we really focus on at Gray is that I learn something new every day, and I've been doing this over 30 years. So one of the brothers of the founding family, Howard Gray, always said, when you're green, you grow, when you're ripe, you rot. So we always try to be green and growing. So.
Awesome. Fantastic. And last question I have for you guys, and I again encourage anyone to put any questions you all have in the chat, and we can definitely get to those. We have a couple minutes left here. But last question I have for you all is, obviously Gray Construction, you guys have been there for a long time. Some of you have started as interns. Can you all just go around the room again and touch on what is your favorite part of working for Gray Construction and why you've been there for so long?
I'll go first. My favorite part about Gray is we have core values. It starts with safety. It's got the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. And then we treat our customers. It's relationship driven. And they're not just 3 core values that are on the wall. It's when you have a conversation with any of the leaderships at Gray, those core values come out and just casual conversations. So that's why I like about Gray the most is, it's an honest company that know where it's headed.
So for me, and it's what I said earlier, it's about the people. As you've heard today, we work on large projects. There's a tremendous amount of collaboration, whether it's with our design team or with an IT partner trying to get a video call set up to do this meeting today. It's those kinds of things. It's having those individuals that everybody contributes something to that end goal. So that job, the Samsung project, as John presented, there were hundreds, thousands of people that touched that successful project. There was no one individual, but for me, it's all about the people and just that unity with everyone trying to make sure that all our projects are successful. And there are times they are very challenging. And when you look around, you've got that team there that's working through those with you. So that's, for me, the most important thing.
Rodney beat me to it. I haven't been here as long, but definitely one of the things that drew me to Gray is that teamwork. And I have to say, like, a happy to help attitude. I can't say enough about the different groups working together and happy to help anyone who's new or who wants to learn something different. So that definitely drew me and it's keeping me here.
And Zach, obviously I'm in human resources, so I'm going to say it's the people because I think they're what really make Gray who we are. And having a team that is very focused on a common goal and with shared values, I think really makes us really a special place to work. I think people enjoy working with each other because people are very driven, very dedicated, and they also are dedicated to helping each other grow. We started a program, gosh, I'm trying to remember, probably 10 years ago, Gray University, and it was teaching people, great people teaching great people. And we started doing it with courses internally taught by many of our very knowledgeable professionals. And that was just to help others grow. And John said, Gray Fusion, which he was sharing a presentation that's continuing to grow and develop people. So, that's one of the things that I see, which is a great spirit at Gray, which is it doesn't matter if you start out as an intern or the receptionist, or you start out, in accounting, they're going to help you grow into the career that you want to be in. And that's an exciting part about being part of Gray, is that shared values, as John mentioned, and that spirit of working together and teamwork.
Awesome. Thank you guys for that. I had one more question that popped up in the chat, and then I'll pass it back over to Harper. So the question came in is, what if I'm a high school student and I don't know what kind of work I'm interested in? How will I know if I would enjoy the construction industry?
Well, I think doing some research on that, I'll let you guys chime in too, but I think doing research on that, job shadowing opportunities, talk with your teachers about job shadowing opportunities. We do those here, and I know other companies do as well. But we've had students that have come in, even just doing a tour in our facility and really key in on one thing. And you can tell that's just something that really lights their fire, and it's exciting to see that. So those are some things that I would say, talking to professionals in the industry. Many times you can, look somebody up on either LinkedIn or our website and give them a call. And most of the time they're going to say, hey, I'm happy to talk to you. I might not be able to talk to you right that minute, but let's schedule a time. And they'll share with you a little bit about the industry if you're wanting to learn about it. So.
Yeah, and I would add, as far as we're concerned, you can go to gray.com and there's a full portfolio of all our markets, the projects we've done in the past, and it really gets into detail about every aspect. And intern opportunities are on there, right? Hiring opportunities are on there.
Right, and there's some blogs that our team members have put out there that will share about, their experiences, either an intern or in their career, whether it's an engineer or an architect. There's some blogs out there that are actually kind of neat, video blogs that you can listen to as well. Rodney?
Perfect.
No, I think for me, it was the people. Talk to, whether it's construction or any other industry, talk to those, look up if you know people. If you don't, somebody probably does. So use that networking skill. And, I think to me, most anyone's going to be willing to at least help and share what their path may look like, where they are today. Obviously started maybe much differently than in their career. So I think just talking with people is a great resource.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for all this today. And Kathy, I just put your email in the chat. So if anyone has any follow-up questions after today's session, please feel free to reach out to Kathy. She's more than happy to talk with you. And with that being said, I'll pass it over to Harper.
Thank you, Zach. And thank you so much, Susan, John, Kathy, and Rodney, for a great and well-rounded discussion from Gray. And thank you all for attending our session today. We have our next live session next Wednesday on October 20th with Riverworks Discovery that will feature a panel of maritime employers. Zach is going to put up this QR code that takes you to a post-event survey. So if you could take a few minutes just to scan that and participate in that survey, that will help us plan for these programs in the future. So we hope you all will sign up with us next week. Check out those contests I mentioned on the webpage, and please let either Zach and I know if you all have any questions. Thanks so much and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. We'll leave this up for a few minutes and then we'll close out the thing. But thank you all so much.